Alright, and 3, 2, 1. Hello YouTube, this is Cody with Search My Deck TCG. Here we are bringing you a VGC draft breakdown. This is a pre-recording. Apparently I recorded this and none of the audio was super quiet. I don't know why. It was my normal setup, so I'm trying to be booming a bit louder and see if I can get a better audio. Anyway, this is a draft league, which if you're not familiar, just like a sports league, all of the players, the Pokemon are available, and you break down by usually 8 to 16 people, and you draft one, and now it's just the one. So one Rillaboom, one Cinderace, etc., etc. So it's really interesting because you have 10 to 12 Pokemon usually, so you ended up going through, 100 to 200 Pokemon in total. So you see a lot of Pokemon that aren't normally used. You have to draft some interesting Pokemon, and it's a really cool thing. It's my first one I've ever done, and we're going to be doing some VGC battles on the channel. And so yeah, without further ado, I'm gonna try to dub the best that original Cody was saying. There's no script here, so we'll see if I can make everything make sense. So it looks like we're starting with Butterfree here. We're not starting with Butterfree. I think we're just talking about the 6 Pokemon we drafted, being Melmetal, Zorua, Dusclops, Sylveon, Conqueror, and Butterfree were the first 6. Looks like here I'm just doing a breakdown, probably talking about the draft, what I just said. There we go. Now, okay, here we go. Now we're starting. Now I can begin. So talking about Melmetal first. We had the 13th pick of 16 people. So we have 13, then again we had 19. So we had a couple kind of back to, or 14, sorry. We had 14th pick and then the 19th pick. So we had a couple back-to-back, basically, and so we started with Melmetal. Melmetal is a stat stick. He's got a lot of HP, a lot of defense, and a lot of attack. Generally, kind of a slow, bulky Pokemon, but he's got some really good attack, a very diverse move pool. Iron Fist is a super ability. The dude hits like a truck. He can Choice Band, he can Assault Vest, he can do what, he can run the Anti-Fire, Anti-Ground Berry. Really whatever you want. There's a lot of different paths. Life Orb, but ideally he is Trick Room. So when I had him available, I saw him at pick 14 and I'm like, yeah, I need that thing. Look at him, he's tanky. And so the whole plan at this point was kind of Trick Room. Figured, okay, I'm not gonna spend my first pick on something with 35 speed and not try to support it properly. So that's you'll see that sort of strategy in the entire draft. Is Melmetal is the building piece. We didn't just throw Pokemon together. We did try to build around him with typing support and Trick Room support. Because he is, you can see the stats more clearly now. 143 attack, 143 defense. Dude is, he takes max Earth from whatever stab physical Pokemon. Like he can just, maybe not, but dude can take hits. And yeah, special defense is not great, so there is that's why support around him is good. But then we move on to our second Pokemon, is Zeraora. So a couple picks later, Zeraora is on the board, and that was what I wanted from the beginning. I actually wanted these two. If you think, well, Trick Room, and they're both ground weak, and they don't work with Trick Room, it's kind of a weird pick. However, this is 6v6, best of 1, so that should be relevant there. So Trick Room is not going to last the whole match, and so it's really good to have. I really wanted to have some outside Trick Room options, and Zeraora being the fastest Pokemon in the game currently, just having that extra speed either to start fast or to end fast. Not a lot of middle fast, but it depends on the match. But I really wanted something, just as soon as I saw how fast he was, how just capable he is to just kind of clean up things, or just dent things in and then let other boys clean up earlier. There's a lot of these two don't synergize really themselves that well, and I kind of synergize more on Melmetal as I go on. But just having a really fast sweeper, I think was super important. And then the first real synergy pick is Trick Room. So obviously I want to get Trick Room up. I had to wait about a while, 33 or so picks, I think, or 28 picks. I had the math, but I forgot it. But I had to wait a while between my next pick. So then I won Trick Room Setter. Porygon 2, I was kind of eyeing. Porygon 2 or Dusclops, and I just move on. So yeah, we got Dusclops. He's a bulky Trick Room Setter. Next we have Sylveon. Sylveon is the icon of my team mascot. We are the Salem Sweeties, and Sylveon is really picked because it's my second favorite Pokemon and it's my team's mascot. It's the one time where I really let bias get in my picks. It's not bad. It's slow enough where it can operate under Trick Room, but 60 speed is also good enough where it can do decent outside of Trick Room. Fairy type, defensive fairy type is still really, really good. It supports, so far I have 4 different types, and 4 fairly good types. So it just kind of adds a pretty good defensive core, and a couple different options with like Yawn, or Helping Hand, or just a Specs offense. And again, it can go real slow, it can kind of speed up, you could, heck, you could even Scarf it if you really wanted to. So it's got the Spread Hyper Voice. So Spread is super good, especially with like Zero Aura. Zero Aura doesn't always hit hard enough to clean up on his own, so having a good spread attacker that can go with him was something I was thinking of as well. So not just because I like Sylveon, but a lot because I like Sylveon. Probably could have picked something else there, but she's not a bad pick at all. And then we had to wait another 28 picks, and then we got our boy Conqueror. He is just a slow, fat attacker. Just like kind of like Melmetal, pretty similar stats actually. Not as defensively bulky as you can see. HP, defense, it's both worse. Special defense is a little better, but yeah, not as bulky. But dude hits like a truck, and that's really all he was there for. Hard hitting fighting type. Moving right on to Butterfree. Butterfree was something I was eyeing from the beginning. As soon as I got Dusclops and I wanted to go Trick Room, really wanted a Rage Powder Pokemon, some sort of redirector, and there's not a lot. When you only have one of each Pokemon, you realize there's not a lot of Rage Powder, not a lot of Follow Me, and at this point, they already are kind of gone. So I always wanted Butterfree. I knew I wasn't gonna spend a super high pick on something like Amoonguss or Indeedee. Those and Togekiss, those went like in the first round, so that was never gonna happen. However, Butterfree was something I was eyeing, so I decided to pick it up here. I didn't want to wait and waste it. At this point, it was on like Butterfree and Togetic. Like I was actually thinking about maybe having to get Togetic on my team. So no, I definitely wanted Butterfree. Just redirecting really helps with Trick Room, and just in general, you take hits off Zero or Melmetal. And it's got Sleep Powder. It's got some options. So those were the first 6. So 12 pick rounds. So let's move on to the last 6. We started with Gastrodon. Gastrodon here is simply wanted a slow, bulky water, specifically one who supported Melmetal. And Melmetal's weakness, as you know, ground, fighting, fire. Gastrodon does really well against both fire and ground Pokemon. So it's someone who can kind of attack his weaknesses or even be on the field with him. Gastrodon is very slow at 39 base speed, and so that's what he is there for. And then we move on to offense. We got a lot of slow, hard-hitting attackers, so I wanted to kind of reaffirm on that fast speed. Zero Aura needed a better partner besides 60 speed Sylveon, so we added Bottom Cut. With Discharge works with Zero Aura because it got Volt Absorb, so I can do some kind of sneaky stuff with there. It can be Scarf, it can be bulky with a berry, and do Will-O-Wisp stuff. Generally, the cut version is usually better with a Scarf or a Specs, but it's got options. It's also got a ground immunity. Since my first 2 Pokemon are weak to ground, I wanted to get a second ground immunity in there. But yeah, Leaf Storm hits super hard. It's got good stats, and that's why he's there. And then we have a Reuniclus. I wanted a second Trick Room attacker. That was the next thing on the docket. No, Trick Room attacker. Sorry, Trick Room setter. In games I didn't want to bring Dusclops, or games I wanted to bring both and just make sure I get 2 Trick Rooms up. Just some sort of backroom Trick Room attacker was the goal. It's a Psychic type I didn't have yet. It's super slow and hits super hard. So that was kind of what I wanted, and Reuniclus fit that bill perfectly. I was eyeing Gourgeist as well, but at the time I liked Reuniclus better. Yeah, it hit that stats super nice. Move pool's good enough, and Overcoat's a pretty decent ability. Not the best, but definitely fills the void. And also one more special. I kind of wanted to balance between special and physical. And now we move on to Golurk. Golok's an interesting one because I already have slow, hard-hitting people in Conqueror and Melmetal, and I already have ground and ghost types. However, Dusclops isn't really a ghost type since he's not really doing any physical attacks, so I did kind of want an actual physical ghost type, or physical or special, an actual attacking ghost type. And just another ground type. Ground's a really good type, so Golok is slow. He hits super hard. He got some pretty neat stuff with like Ally Switch and Helping Hand and Trick, and like he can do some stuff as well with that beefy attack stat. Ghost Ground, super good combination of attacks as well. And he's got some pretty access to like Hammer Arm and like Ice Punch. I really were a couple of the punches. And so that's why he's there. And then we move on to the last two picks, pick 11 and 12. The draft is getting pretty thin at this point. I've got my slow attackers. I just want speed. I just want something a little more speed. Right now, my second fastest Pokemon is 86 base speed. Not all that fast. So with these last two picks, I'm like, what's on the board that's fast? So we picked up Savali Dark. Didn't have a dark type yet, so having that psychic immunity and some of the other defensiveness of the dark type, I thought would be pretty useful. It's fast. It's got a very diverse move pool. It can be an offensive or special sweeper who will just do support, like Parting Shot and Snarl. There's some pretty good support moves. So that's why Savali was there. And lastly, Lopunny. Lopunny was my very last pick. Board's getting pretty thin. I want something that can go fast. Like Savali is just it was go fast. I definitely feel less excited about Lopunny than I did Savali or anything else, because outside of its speed, doesn't have a whole lot going for it. Can't hit super hard or do a whole lot, but it was I think the fastest Pokemon left on the board in the tiers I could pick. I guess something I didn't mention here, that everything was tiered. So you have the OU tier, which is the top tier, the NU, the UU, the RU, the NU, and the PU, kind of based off Smoggin tiers if you're familiar with that. But basically each Pokemon is put in a group of how good they are, and you can only get X amount of Pokemon from each group. So it kind of helps make everything really balanced. So just because you go first, even though there's the snake draft, you still can't pick extra top tier Pokemon. So I do like that for sure. And that is the draft breakdown for the Salem Sweeties. We'll be having gameplay coming up as well for most of these battles. If you want more VGC content, let me know. This is Cody with Search My Deck, TCG, signing off. Here's the lovely picture I drew. We'll see you all next time.